Yes, I am Dave, Bill's way younger brother. Bill likes to remind people, but he's way better looking than I am also.
And smarter.
And smarter too, yes. I forgot that part. So what an honor. What an honor to be, let me go here. What an honor to be able to introduce your older brother, celebrate your older brother at an Optimist Club meeting. So Bill and I are both graduates of Ramsey High School, now Roseville High School. And we had great parents growing up right here in Roseville. Bill will share many stories about his journey. But last year I had a chance to travel with Bill and his family out to Seattle as he was the recipient of the National High School Hall of Fame Award.
Dave, I don't think we're hearing you very well.
Yeah, let me go even closer here.
Get it really close.
All right, I'll go real close.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you. So I had a chance to travel with Bill and his family when he received his national award, and he joined the club of people like Janet Carvinen, Kevin McHale, Paul Giel, and this year, Joe Mauer. So huge names in Minnesota, and now Bill Webb. When Bill gets the spotlight put on him, he always turns it back on everyone who helped his path, helped him get here, and he did the same thing in Seattle. One of the things that I know about Bill is he's the most optimistic person I know. What a great place to present today. When some of you know my story and my wife's health decline over the past many years, and she passed away just a year ago. Again, I call Bill, I speak to Bill every single day, and I always leave uplifted and encouraged. Today you'll walk out of here uplifted and encouraged. Please welcome my brother, Bill Webb.
We doing okay there? Yeah, looks all right. Thanks, Dave, and thanks, well, many people, Chuck and Terry and Don and all of the Roseville Optimist Club. It's great to be here with you today. It's quite an experience to have been through what I've been through, very humbling. But I'd like to share a little bit of a Roseville boy story. I cover a lot of ground in the next 45-minute presentation, including this journey to the National High School Hall of Fame. But equally as important is the incredible impact that Roseville has had on my life and my career. And say, thank you, Roseville. My presentation today will be in three main segments. The first segment is the extraordinary importance of family and some of my Roseville upbringing. The second segment includes some video clips of my teaching career, largely at Edina High School, that the NFHS requested for the Hall of Fame application. And the third segment is video from the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that was held last summer in Seattle, Washington. For fun today, I'll also incorporate a few of my backyard beauty wildlife hobby photographs, all taken in our backyard in Edina. And as a way of giving back to the greater community that has given so much to me, I also do many free motivational presentations, wildlife presentations, or presentations like this, sculpted to groups of any age or any group. So let me know if I can help out your organization in some way too. First, the importance of family. I was blessed to grow up in a tremendously loving and supportive and extraordinarily positive family. We had 4 kids in the family, Bill, Tom, Nancy, and Dave, and that's me at the bottom, and my younger brother Dave is in my dad's arm. Even though our family was Protestant, not Catholic, our dad, Harry Webb, was a professor at the College of St. Thomas for over 30 years. and was named as one of the most interesting and influential people in the history of St. Thomas. Our mother, Lois Webb, was a school social worker in the Minneapolis Public Schools and served a term as president of the Minnesota School Social Workers Association. That's me with both of them in 1955. They were both brilliant individuals who instilled in us kids a deep love for family and friends, an intense curiosity about life, the value of hard work, and to think positive, speak positive, and be positive. And equally important, to consciously resist the negativity that has always existed to some degree in this world. Don't let others rent space in your brain. Sometimes people come and dump their troubles on you, or you hear the disturbing negative news of the day, and you can stew on it for hours or days, and it just sucks you down. You can learn to compartmentalize and consciously decide to think about issues when you choose to think about issues. But don't let other people's issues or the bad news of the day weigh you down constantly. Don't let others rent space in your brain. Think positive, speak positive, be positive. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Until 1965, when I was in 6th grade, we lived on Selby Avenue in St. Paul, in a small house just a couple doors down from the College of St. Thomas. That was our vintage TV. In 1965, my parents built a new house in Roseville on Eldridge Avenue near Brimhall Elementary School. I helped them pack up our station wagon, and I suppose we felt a bit like the Beverly Hillbillies as we moved to the wide open spaces in the suburbs. This 1965 photo is looking east from the corner of Fairview Avenue and Eldridge Avenue, and Brimhall Elementary School is on the left. Soon after we moved in, my dad took this photo looking north from Snelling Avenue and what they called Trunk Highway 36. Notice the sign announcing that a new mall called Rosedale will soon be built on this site. And just a few blocks east of here, this is Fairview Avenue, looking south towards the intersection of Fairview and Highway 36. And notice that before Rosedale went in, it was just a stop sign on Fairview Avenue at Highway 36, not even a stop light. This is on the south side of Highway 36, looking north to the Roseville Water Tower and the fields that will soon become Rosedale. They say it takes a village, and I enjoyed everything about that village. Roseville was an idyllic place to grow up. Roseville had great shopping like Harmer Mall and a new and upcoming restaurant called McDonald's. One of the very first McDonald's in the country. This classic family photo shows me trying to steal my younger brother Dave's orange drink when he wasn't looking. In Roseville Boy Scout Troop 33, we took dozens of canoe trips throughout the state, and led by great leaders like George Harrison and Stu Duncanson, I was inspired to achieve both Eagle Scout and God and Country awards. Nearby, within easy walking distance of our home, was the historic Gibbs Farm, where our maternal grandmother on the left gave Norwegian spinning demonstrations. She was an immigrant to this country in 1912. In the 1960s, our grandmother in her Norwegian dress also gave spinning demonstrations at the Minnesota State Fair in the Pioneer Building. My dad took this photo at the State Fair in the mid-1960s of Minnesota's own Vice President Hubert Humphrey. Take a closer look at the signs on the right side of this photo. One sign is for Minnesota Governor Karl Rolvag, and one sign says, elect Salverda County Commissioner. Yes, our very own Roseville Optimist Club founder, Don Salverda, 60 years ago, was an extraordinary, inspirational leader who helped shape this very successful village of Roseville and continues to this day to be a tremendous servant leader. Let's all give a huge round of applause to our remarkable legend, Don Salverda. Thank you, Don. Wow, just wow. This great Roseville community and our outstanding Roseville Public Schools education excuse me, laid the foundation for very successful careers and lives for all four of us Webb family kids and thousands of others too. My brother Tom Webb on the right, shown here with President George Bush at a White House Christmas party, was a reporter for the Night Ritter News Service in Washington, D.C., covering presidents and major national and international events. My sister Nancy is a highly successful real estate agent in Green Valley, Arizona. And my brother Dave, who many of you know, is a retired superintendent for South St. Paul Public Schools. I'm also tremendously proud to see my brother Dave take his positive teamwork approach to another level with his Amazon best-selling book entitled Home Run Leadership, Your Guide to Better, Faster Team Decisions. Dave is now helping many individuals and organizations locally, around the country, and around the world through his executive coaching and team leadership training by focusing on positive, healthy, systematic formulas for leaders in all walks of life. Congrats, Dave, and thanks, Mom and Dad. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Roseville's Ramsey High School was led by outstanding principal Curtis Johnson. A widely respected principal, he was even willing to ham it up on stage with me on the right and a friend for an all-school assembly. He was great. Roseville teacher Norm Herzog, shown here on the left at his retirement concert, was my band director at Fairview Junior High in the mid-1960s, and he ignited my passion for music. Norm was an outstanding pianist and trumpeter, and I loved everything about being in band. My life could have been dramatically different without the inspiration of Norm Herzog, and he became a cherished lifelong friend. Then in Roseville's Alexander Ramsey High School band, starting in 1969, I had the great fortune of having Bob Hallquist as a band director. Bob would change my life forever. Bob, who in this article was named Minnesota Band Educator of the Year, was my inspiration to become a high school band director, and his leadership led to a plethora of great high school band experiences. Ramsey Pops concerts, that's me on the left. The Minnesota All-State Band, directed by Miles Johnson. Many great Ramsey concerts and record albums. Playing in the Ramsey High School bands with my eventual wife, Sue. And having many close Ramsey friends who I still see regularly more than 50 years later. Bob and I are still very close friends to this day. I'm indebted to him and cherish his lifelong friendship. There are other Roseville educators that I cherish as friends and mentors too. Roseville drama director Dan Peterson was my high school English teacher, and I recently had supper with him. Dan hired me to conduct the pit orchestra for the Roseville Summer Theater production of Oklahoma, the first production in the then new Ramsey Auditorium in 1976. Former Roseville band director and great friend Les Luke is shown here on the right at our wedding in 1978. Les has also been a great friend for decades. Here's a good friend and former Roseville band director Kathy Gates with Bob Hallquist and me. And while at Ramsey and in college too, I took private trumpet lessons with Ron Hasselman, who played trumpet professionally in the Minnesota Orchestra, and by the way, is sitting right over there next to my wife. Wave there, Ron. This photo with me, Ron Hasselman, and Bob Hallquist was following my senior recital in college, where the three of us played a trumpet trio. Ron, too, has been a close, cherished mentor and lifelong friend. There are friends in life, and there are friends for life. I feel blessed that some of my mentors, like Norm Herzog and Bob Hallquist and Ron Hasselman, have been friends for life. And I'm happy to say that the great music continues to this day in the Roseville High School bands under the direction of Mr. Matt Donnell. So many of us are grateful for the Roseville schools. Next, I'll share a variety of photos and videos from my teaching career, primarily at Edina High School, that were requested by the NFHS for the Hall of Fame application.
William Webb was an esteemed band director in Minnesota for 37 years. He taught at Spring Lake Park High School for 8 years, at Edina High School for 24 years, and retired in 2015 following a debilitating reaction to an antibiotic. Webb was an outstanding musician who combined his outgoing personality and quick sense of humor with great passion, vision, and dedication to students. Bill directed bands at every level: elementary, middle school, high school, college, and adult bands, and his imprint was felt in Minnesota, across the country, and beyond.
My educational vision always included looking for ways to give students extraordinary, positive, life-changing experiences, and to put everyone, students, colleagues, family, and community, in the very best positions to shine.
Edina marching bands have performed hundreds of events, including the nationally televised McDonald's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the Kamehameha Parade in Hawaii, the National Cherry Blossom Parade in Washington, D.C., in field show performance with the University of Minnesota, pre-games for Minnesota Vikings games, and pre-game for Minnesota Twins ALDS American League Division Series game at the Hubert Humphrey Metrodome.
I was always inspired by this quote from President John F. Kennedy: "To whom much is given, much is expected." And I also believe that music is the international language. Knowing that my band students were likely to be future leaders in their respective communities and even around the world, I worked hard to provide students opportunities to interact across cultures, to gain a deeper respect for humanity, and give them the opportunity to share the joys of music with people of many races and nationalities, and help improve relationships around the world.
Webb has shared in over 2,000 Minnesota performances, over 50 national performances, and over 50 international performances. The Edina Concert Band is listed on the prestigious John Philip Sousa Foundation's Historic Roll of Honor of High School Concert Bands. Webb's bands have performed throughout the world. In 2005, they performed the world premiere of the Beijing, China Olympic Overture at the Forbidden City Concert Hall in Beijing, China. In 1999, they performed in the Koshan Theater in Hong Kong. In 2001, at the historic Victoria Concert Hall in Singapore. They performed numerous times on the U.S. Virgin Island of St. Thomas with the internationally acclaimed Rising Stars Steel Youth Drum Orchestra. In 2007, the Edina School's music department was named a National Grammy Signature School, and Webb conducted the combined band, choir, and orchestra gala event. They performed in 1991 at the Arizona Memorial Ceremony in Hawaii, commemorating the 50th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, and in 1995 at the U.S. Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C., commemorating the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II.
I love this quote about teamwork. Together, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results. Through overtly positive leadership, I worked very hard to inspire healthy relationships and great teamwork, realizing that each of us has our own strengths, and my extraordinary colleagues and friends have different strengths, and the power of us and we was far greater than the power of me. This is the most cherished team in my life, our family. Our daughter Andrea on the left, myself, my wife Sue, and our daughter Corinne. Corinne and Andrea now have beautiful families of their own. As the ultimate team player, my wife Sue is my icon for a person most willing to give of herself to help others. Sue has had an incredible role in my professional success and in our immediate and extended family too. And that's in addition to her own professional career as a computer software engineer for nearly 40 years at the Unisys Corporation right here in Roseville. Thank you, Sue.
The Edina Concert Band's classical concerts are impressive, but in addition, their renowned Pops concerts are now in their 70th year. Pops annually runs for 5 evening performances, often sells out, and has entertained tens of thousands over the years. Pops features outstanding music of all genres, from pop to classical and Broadway to jazz, professionally choreographed production numbers, skits, and a plethora of student talent and humor. Webb served as president of many Minnesota music organizations. In the early 1990s, Webb was a founding officer of MBDA, the Minnesota Band Directors Association, serving as the first vice president-elect. Webb led MBDA and MSHSL in developing what was widely regarded as the first Title IX document in the nation that balanced the numbers of band performances at girls' and boys' high school athletic events. Webb was an accomplished trumpet player and early in his career played professionally with the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra and the Chimera Dinner Theater. He was a founding member of the Lake Wobegon Brass Band and the Minnesota Symphonic Winds, one of the country's outstanding adult community bands that in 2008 was awarded the Sudler Silver Scroll, North America's most prestigious award for community concert bands. Webb was the MSW Associate Conductor for 30 years and is now Associate Conductor Emeritus. Webb helped lead MSW on performance tours to Lucerne, Switzerland, to Singapore, on an Alaskan cruise, and at the prestigious Midwest International Band and Orchestra Clinic, where Webb conducted a selection featuring MSW and the Dallas Brass. When an unexpected health turn in 2015 left Webb in a wheelchair and ended his career, MSW and the Edina Bands hosted a spectacular band concert in his honor.
Bill Webb, back in the saddle.
Webb conducted Bugler's Holiday, featuring 21 trumpet players who were former students and colleagues. The concert was emceed by Walt Disney's director of music, Stan Freese. The concert also featured 2 premieres of concert band compositions dedicated to Webb, Brightside by Timothy Marr and Emeritus by Carl Holmquist.
Bill has an expression that he would use time and time again, that a rising tide raises all ships. The funny thing for Bill is that it's not just an expression, it was how he acted. He was the rising tide. Every time he got involved in an organization or walked into the classroom or entered the band office, he was the person that lifted the esprit de corps, lifted the level of excellence, lifted the work ethic. He is that rising tide. And I think that's the attribute of a Hall of Famer. Someone who lifts others up and puts service to others before themselves. I think the legacy that Bill will have left is one of high standards with great altruism and humility. How he led, how he engaged with students was all about them getting better. And all through the love of music, he would always keep giving more. And I think that will be his legacy, that he was a great human.
For decades, I was heavily involved in Minnesota State High School League activities. MSHSL is a nonprofit association governing high school athletics and fine arts programs for 500 schools in Minnesota.
Webb has a long history with the league. 40 years ago in 1983, Webb's Spring Lake Park High School Marching Band performed at the MSHSL Prep Bowl state tournament football games at the Metrodome. Webb was a contest host, judge, clinician, and manager for decades, and over 4,000 of his students have participated in MSHSL solo and ensemble contests and over 200 in all-state bands. Webb's bands have performed for over 50 state tournament games, 150 regional games, and over 500 regular season MSHSL athletic events. Webb served on the MSHSL Board of Directors for 4 years and for over 25 years on many MSHSL committees. In 2019, Webb was inducted into the MSHSL Hall of Fame.
MSHSL is an affiliate of the NFHS, the National Federation of State High School Associations, the national umbrella organization that governs athletics and fine arts for all 50 states. When the MSHSL wanted to promote the great things happening in fine arts in the state of Minnesota, it prompted a humbling string of state, regional, and national awards in my name in recent years. Last summer, when a front page article came out in the Star Tribune about my induction into the National High School Hall of Fame, a friend of mine made an interesting comment. He said it's easy to be on the front page for doing something bad, but it's difficult to be on the front page for doing something good. Congratulations on your positive achievement. This next third segment features video put together by the NFHS for the National High School Hall of Fame in the induction ceremony in specific that was held last summer in Seattle.
40th induction ceremony of the National High School Hall of Fame as we honor one performing arts educator, one contributor, one administrator, 5 high school coaches, and 4 former high school athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2023 inductees into the National High School Hall of Fame, beginning with a salute to our National Performing Arts educator.
Our first inductee tonight is Bill Webb of Minnesota. Bill Webb was one of the most honored band directors in the nation during his 37 years in Minnesota. Webb retired in 2015 after an outstanding career that included 24 years at Edina High School, where 53 of his 54 bands received superior ratings in large band group contests.
I've had so many incredible highlights in my career. There are the obvious ones, the marching in the National Cherry Blossom Parade in Washington, D.C., or marching in Hawaii along Waikiki Beach, or performing the world premiere of the Olympic Overture in Forbidden City Concert Hall in Beijing, China, or performing in the Koshan Theater in Hong Kong, or performing in the historic Victoria Concert Hall in Singapore. But the reality is that my career highlight really was sharing my life in music with students every single day. Watching students discover their talents, to blossom, to shine, sharing their talents on stage, at home and around the country and around the world. Allowing students to connect their hearts and their souls through music with their friends, and then also share it on national and international stages with people of all races and nationalities. Throughout my career, I worked very hard to have our band students become well-rounded citizens. We had almost every sports team represented in our band programs. Our schools have many offerings, and our students were part of almost every club, every activity, and every venue you can imagine in the school, and we encourage that always. I think the life lessons that are to be learned from the arts can parallel the life lessons that you would find in activities like sports. But I think there is also one added dimension, and that is the intrinsic value of the arts in reaching the human soul. That students who can come in touch on a musical basis, or from a drama, or from a writing, an expressive standpoint where they can touch their soul, expand their lives in a way that can stay with them forever. I have countless former students who are tremendously successful in their own professions now, some in the fine arts, some in music, but most not. Most in other venues, other professions like doctors or lawyers. But I think the common thread is that they all share that love of music and the love of the fine arts that they developed as a young person. I am deeply honored and humbled to be chosen for induction into the NFHS Hall of Fame. The road to an honor like this is paved with the support of tremendous colleagues, students, Minnesota State High School League associates, friends, and family. I hope that an award like this to a Minnesota high school band director can serve to shine a spotlight on the tremendous educational work of band directors and fine arts directors and educators throughout Minnesota and around the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, the outstanding band director from Medina High School in Minnesota, whose imprint was felt in Minnesota, across the country, and in other nations. Let's offer our congratulations to Bill Webb.
Thank you. With all the bad news in the world that we can see on our phones 24/7 or see on our TVs these days, it's important to remember that beauty surrounds us. It is always there. We just have to see it. The beautiful community and people that surrounded me growing up in Roseville inspired me for a lifetime. Is our community or our country perfect? No. Nor is any one of us as human beings. When things go well in our communities, it's easy to take it for granted, when in reality, there are many dedicated individuals in groups like the Don Salverdes or the Roseville Optimist clubs of the world working tirelessly to make our communities better. I've often thought that every U.S. citizen should live for a year in a third world country, and it would give all of us a deeper appreciation for the many blessings that we sometimes take for granted, but we should recognize, cherish, and celebrate in our country. At this point in my presentation, I was intending to go directly into the closing video. But a couple of days ago, Don Salverde called me and asked me if I would include in this program today something about the 80th anniversary of D-Day that occurred just about a week ago. Since our dad was an officer in World War II, and my brother Tom and I had put together an hour-long video about our dad in World War II after he passed away, I told Don that I would take 3 minutes from that video and salute all who have served. Our dad, Harry Webb, was an information and education officer in World War II on the 398th Air Force Base at Nut Hampstead, England, just outside London. He never talked about the war with us kids, but when he passed away in 2014, we discovered trunkloads of documents, clothing, and thousands of very interesting photos, many he had taken himself and many with his handwritten notes on the back. Here is a salute to all veterans and also a heartfelt thank you to those who never came back.
The men and machines of the 398th arrived in Nut Hampstead in April 1944. Almost every day, bomber crews from Nut Hampstead would take off, join with bombers from many or all of the surrounding U.S. bomber bases. Each red dot here is an American bomber base in England. Here the bombs are falling, and the 15 bombers in this photo are under attack. Those black clouds are exploding flak shells fired by Germans from the ground.
He had to give lectures every day, meetings with the troops who had just come in from a bombing raid. And the idea was to keep them appraised of how the war was going, in effect to help them understand why they were fighting.
Dad's most famous photograph of the war was this B-17 that was hit with a flak shell on a mission over Cologne, Germany, but miraculously flew back to Nut Hampstead.
Harry noted what D-Day looked like and what it sounded like. This was D-Day and part of thousands of planes that made the sky like a big beehive. Harry was not at Normandy on D-Day, but his files contained these stunning photographs which he displayed at the base for the troops to see. Germany surrendered in May 1945, igniting celebrations around the world. And when Japan surrendered in August 1945, Captain Harry Webb's photos include the very emotional and very poignant officers' celebration that occurred in England when World War II was finally over. To end my presentation today, I hope you enjoy this final beautiful video of our national anthem. Excuse me. The people in that last video did what they did so the people in this next video could do what they do. This next video was compiled by the NFHS for the Hall of Fame banquet ceremony last summer. And for this video, please remain seated and just enjoy the beauty of our Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof
Thank you, Roseville. And thank you, Roseville Optimist Club. It has been a pleasure sharing time with you today.